Ching chong screen flash switch. Yo peeps, this is Wisteria. Welcome to the very first Blade of You. This is Trident Husbando here. I'm super excited to be talking with you guys today. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. Like a really long time. So today, like most days, we're going to talk about the awesomeness that is games. My goal here is to really share with you guys like kind of how I see the wonderful medium that is electronic interactive entertainment games. I just want to show you my way of looking at them, and I've experienced them, and hopefully this will expand your view on video games as a whole, seeing their potential, if you will. Whether you're an avid gamer who does jumping 360 no scopes, or if you don't even have any idea what that means. I want you guys to create and share your own Blades of You. Show everyone your world by talking about the worlds that may or can connect us. So I've been thinking about how to get that point across to people, and well, you know, this is the first one, so I wanted this to be sort of impactful in a way, and I decided, hey, I'll just talk about a game, you know, give an example. Everyone loves examples. Examples are how you understand things. So anyway, that's why I decided to play Tetris. Beat up Tetris. It's not exactly the AAA titles that's like everyone loves, like Battlefront 2 or anything, you know. Everybody loves that. Everybody loves 2K and stuff, but it's a game that's near and dear to my heart, and I just wanted to tell you guys why. In case you guys didn't know, Tetris is a game where you, the player, take blocks that are shaped in different patterns and move and twist them around to line them up and fit them as neatly as possible in a rectangular box. You know, the blocks that keep coming down, and you just have to like build them up neatly so that you can clear lines. You clear a line by having a line of blocks go across, straight across, and you lose when any block touches the top, or when the boxes cause you to rage quit like crazy. So you could say it's a game where blocks come down in a box. You build up Fort Knox and don't get stun locked before the blocks reach the top. Now that may not sound very deep, but depending on how you look at it, you'd be dead wrong. Let me show you what I mean, how enlightening even a simple game like this can be. Before I can tell you about how Tetris has enlightened me with its philosophy, or the philosophy rather that I have derived from it, I need to explain to you a couple of things, like when it happened. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Don't worry, it's only so you can understand the context, you know, so you can understand my way of thinking in that time. I work in a shipping company packing boxes into trucks, and I noticed that while working, I needed my mind to be in a certain place. You see, my job entails of having a conveyor of boxes and stupidly shaped packages running into the back of a truck, and Tetris was actually a decent practice to get my mind thinking in that certain way. By playing Tetris, I learned rules and principles that helped me at work. You see, whenever I had played Tetris before going in to work, that is, my mind was already thinking in shapes. You know, anytime I would get a box come down my conveyor, I'd be able to quickly place it, because, you know, I was already thinking, oh, well, this will fit here and that'll fit here, because I had to for Tetris. One night, it was a night that I had played Tetris before going in. It was also a really heavy night. By that I mean there was a lot of boxes. It was Christmas time, so there were a lot of boxes being shipped all over the place. Like, we were filling truck upon truck upon truck upon truck. boxes. I had been steadily increasing my skill and speed in box loading at that time, and was getting pretty good at it. So my supervisor sent me into one of the worst trucks in the whole building. I'm talking like 2 to 3 packages would come down the slide a second, which is crazy since you had to not pick it up, scan it, and then place it neatly into the wall. That in itself takes 2 to 3 seconds. Could you imagine having to deal with that? You know, having to deal with 3 times as many boxes as physically humanly possible? Yeah, exactly. By yourself. But you know, I was feeling myself, I was feeling good. I was loading well. I was getting good, and my supervisor, like, he felt like I could do it. So I was like, yeah, I could do it. I went in and I started loading my fastest. I was like, I was just going sonic speed in there. You should have seen me. My feet were spinning and everything. I was doing great for a while, but they just kept coming faster and faster until eventually I was backed up. And needless to say, the pressure started getting to me, and my supervisor needed me. But I started making mistakes, leaving vulnerabilities in my wall building, and this made my walls unstable. I started fretting over small things like taking extra time that I didn't have to try and fix the walls, rather than keep going. I became distraught. They had to take off the belt from my whole section just because of me. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, my whole wall fell down on me. Because it was unsecure and wobbly and whatever. But I wanted to just stop, but I couldn't really. It was kind of my job to stay. And I remembered when I was playing Tetris earlier that night, to prepare for work, I was making similar mistakes. I was fretting over the small things while things were still coming down, and I was so busy trying to be perfect, which I'm not, that I neglected what I could do. And that's really all that was ever asked of me. My supervisor probably never expected me to like load the entire belt, or he just wanted me to do what I could do, and that would be fine. He didn't ask me to be Superman, he asked me to be me. And that's what I started to see. I was just letting everything get to me at that time. I was letting all the extra boxes that kept coming down get to me. I let the fact that my wall was less than sturdy get to me. I let the fact that, on top of being essentially trapped in the truck because, boxes were falling off the sides and you couldn't really get out. I let that get to me. I let everything just become one big insurmountable thing. So, wanting to fix the wall, that being my only goal at the time, or wanting to just get out of there alive, being my only goal, I decided to think about Tetris. Whenever I thought about Tetris, or when I played Tetris the afternoon before, I would do better, and I wanted to do better at that time. So I thought about Tetris. I thought about how I would do the next couple of boxes, and that's when I started to realize the connection. That's when I started to realize Tetris is like life. Tetris is constantly sending more and more things to you faster and faster. You become acclimated to it. You become more capable of handling it. But of course, you're not perfect, and you're gonna make a mistake eventually. Everyone's gonna make mistakes. The way to overcome that mistake, the way to essentially beat Tetris, is to keep going. You can't worry about that because it's gone. It's done. It's a part of you now. It's a part of it's part of your foundation, a part of what's built you up. So, however, you have to know that all hope is not lost just yet. In Tetris, when you make a mistake, you can get back to that mistake. Well, but first you got to deal with what's coming to you. You got to deal with the level you're on right now. Once you can deal with that, you can get down to the deeper things, the deeper problems that we may have had, the spaces, if you will, in our lines that prevent us from being better, from being the best we can be. I started to connect all these things at work, and I told myself that if I want to not walk out right now and I guess continue working here because I need the job, still need it for a little bit longer, I needed to be better. So let's just keep going. Let's just keep going, and we'll be done eventually. I will not be here forever. I will not be at this level forever. I will not be in this place in my life forever, you know. I didn't only just derive that meaning from Tetris, I ended up implementing it that night, you know. I just kept going. I made a mistake, that's fine, you know, build on top of it, try to make the next layer neat. If I make the next layer neat, it'll hold up the whole wall in the middle, making that mistake a little bit lower, almost like not even a thing for the time being, you know. That mistake wouldn't be something that defined me. You know, almost no one would see it. It would be deep in the truck, a couple walls back, you know, and it wouldn't even be noticed that much since you know, you made it, since you finished, since you beat the level, since you got that truck out. You aren't still there, you know, you aren't still loading, you aren't still struggling with that, you know. Sometimes that's just how it is for a little bit, and that is a noise from Discord. Even though it wasn't something that I had necessarily never heard of, you know, like I've heard, you know, I'm not perfect, and I've heard, you know, that you gotta keep going, you gotta keep moving forward when you're in a dismal state. But it's something that I put into practice almost entirely because of that game. Almost entirely because of Tetris. It's something that was in my mind, in the forefront of my mind, in my conscious mind, something that I was thinking about, and something that allowed me to make a conscious decision to become better. You know, this is what games can do. Just like in Tetris, when you make a little mistake and there's a space in you, a space in your, I guess it's a metaphor for who you are now. You know, the wall that you build. When there's a space in you, you physically can't get to it. In Tetris, it's blocked off by the things that keep coming. You have to keep on placing things. And you can get back to it by clearing those lines. So, you know, you can work on it. Work on yourself. And you can get back. And it isn't like the end. But right about now, I'm starting to feel like I'm talking in circles. So, essentially, guys, what I want you to get from this is that video games are more than just entertainment sometimes. Sometimes, although we do need them for entertainment, they're totally wicked, super awesome, cool. They were created by somebody. Somebody who has experienced things, who has their own wisdom and knowledge of things that they have seen and done and learned. And they put so much into this, and that they can't help but put some of their world into it. Their world meaning, you know, all their experiences and stuff that I was talking about earlier. Everything that they know to be true about the world and themselves. So if we look hard enough, we can see those things and maybe even learn something about ourselves. Learn something that can help us grow. And that's essentially the blade of view. It's my blade of view that you can get lessons that can enrich your way of life. Game developers are people who have experienced things like us, and this is manifested in their games. The things they've learned about life and the world are there. We just have to experience their games, which are but experiences of their worlds that they try to create, bring out of their minds so that we can see it, so that it can affect our worlds. It's just so exciting, you know, that these things can bring us together in this way.
Yo, it's Sky Caspian, and we are Wisteria. I'd like anyone watching our videos to enjoy. You guys should try to make your own Blade of View. A Blade of View is your own kind of inside lesson or an epic. The next time you press start or log into a game, try to think about or feel whatever experiences you get from the game. Here are some questions to think about. What pops out at you? What do you notice? What gives you that satisfaction when playing? How is the community around this game? What do people think of it and why? There's lots of things you can ask yourself, or even others. That's what two players are for. Ask yourself these questions seriously and keep an open mind. Or not. Why do you have a bias for a certain game? You don't always have to take in reviews with an open mind. This is one way you can try to make your own blade of view, which can even help you learn something about yourself or even the world. Come up with something creative. I'm so hyped to see what other games have in store for us, eventually helping us as Wisteria to make our own games. Feel free to stay tuned. Deuces.